Good evening, all of you. I welcome you all on behalf of PLE to one of the most interesting topics of wheels, which has been interesting and fascinating for several centuries all over the world. Now, the will, the simplest of all legal documents, yet it is the most astonishing because the will is made in secrecy. It is opened and read only after the death of the person making it. So the family is anxious, full of suspense. Firstly, how many properties did our ancestor leave? Secondly, who is given? How much is given? Who is not given? Suspense prevails. If the maker is a religious leader, same suspense, but of a different kind, as to who has been now named as the successor to the leader and what are the properties of this ashram or this Baba, whosoever it is. Many novels, dramas, movies have been made in Bollywood and Hollywood revolving around the wills of will. Will, the legal dictionary meaning is a strong desire, determination, wish to do something or to give something. The legal definition of will, as per the Indian Succession Act 1925, is a writing signed by a person regarding disposition of his properties to take place after his or her death. It is signed by that person and attested, means witnessed by two persons. Once that is done, the legal formality of making a will is complete. Next slide, please. Let us see the very unique and interesting wills which have been made in the history in various cultures, countries for centuries. In 1779 BC, a will was found inside the pyramid in Egypt, made by the chief priest or head priest, naming the successor to the priesthood. In 44 BC, in Rome, Julius Caesar had made a will regarding successor to the throne. 1925, in Britain, a lady made a will which was running into 1066 pages. It was in 4 sets, 4 volumes. In 1948, in Canada, a will was written on the fender of a tractor with the pocket knife. It so happened that a farmer was driving his own tractor, accidentally fell under it and was trapped. Realizing that he is not going to survive for more than a few hours, he took out the knife from his pocket and wrote the will on the fender, we call it mudguards, of the tractor. After his death, that fender was taken to the court. After the formalities, the court declared it to be valid and a probate was issued. In fact, this fender of the tractor is still kept in one of the universities in Canada. Now, by far the most interesting case happened in our own country, 2015 in Kolkata. Priyamvada Birla, the rich and famous Birla family, gave away her estate or properties worth more than 5,000 crores to her chartered accountant and his wife, and not giving anything to the relatives or the family. But she mentioned the reasons for doing so. And not go into that because it may be embarrassing. But after long drawn battle in Kolkata High Court, Supreme Court, back to Kolkata, back to Supreme Court, finally Supreme Court has held this will to be valid. Now this case has become a case study for those interested in knowing everything about the wills. Now, how to prepare a will? As I told you, it is the most simplest of all legal documents. It can be handwritten or printed. It can be handwritten or printed by the person, or he may request someone else to do it on his or her behalf. No format, no stamp paper, no registration, no notary is required. Only condition, as I told you, is it must be in writing. It may be written in any language that the person is comfortable with, and it must be signed by that person. The two witnesses are called at the same time when the maker is going to sign it. He signs in their presence, and thereafter, one by one, the witnesses also sign. It is known as attestation, means two witnesses, they also sign. For any addition, alteration, a small separate document called codicil is prepared, which becomes part of the main will. One can cancel the will as many times as one likes and make a fresh one. With creation of every new will, the old will gets cancelled. Therefore, as I told you, the most important thing is witnessing of the will. Neither registration, there is a common belief that when the will is registered, there will be no problem, or let there be medical certificate. Now, all these are not required, because whenever a will is challenged in the court, only the witness is called. Witness who has signed the will is called, and that witness must be known to the maker of the will. Rather, both witnesses should be known to the maker. The witnesses need not know each other. Then question is asked to that witness regarding what was the mental and physical condition of that person. Now, even if the person is ill or even bedridden, that does not matter, so long as the person understood the legal terminologies of sound and disposing state of mind. That means the person knew what that person is doing. Now, this happens when the witness says, so and so, known to me, phoned me and called me, telling me that he or she is going to sign a will and requested me to come and sign as a witness. I went there. Another witness was also present. First, the maker signed it. Thereafter, I signed as a witness number 1. The other witness signed as witness number 2. Now, the witnesses are not concerned with the contents of the will, because they may be in any language, as I told you. Suppose they are Gujarati, Marathi, which the witnesses are not aware of, does not matter. The law only requires that they have to witness the signing of that particular document, particular paper, as I told you. The moment we say document, we think of stamp paper. But no, even a piece of paper is okay. Even a notebook, wills are written in notebook, wills are written in the pad, regular pad. And still, if the witnesses prove in the court that yes, it was all done in our presence. Why? Because who can tell about the state of the person and whether he or she understood? Only the witness, because the person is no more. Person who has made the will has already expired, is dead. Therefore, this witness can throw light on the condition, mental and physical, of the person making on at the time when the person signed. As I told you, person may be ill, does not matter. Maybe bedridden, does not matter. Only thing that matters is that he or she understood that it is the will and requested the witnesses to come and sign it, and they have seen the person signing it. So that completes the legal formality of the will. Wills under Hindu law. Section 30 of the Hindu Succession Act 1956 provides that a Hindu, male or female, may by will dispose of his or her properties. Dispose of here means distribute or give away. the properties. Now, what properties can be given? The property is owned by the maker. Maybe flat, maybe plot, maybe bungalow, it may be bank balance, maybe jewelry, gold, silver, it may be shares and investment in various companies. Everything can be given away, provided the person who is making it owns it. For example, tenancy of howsoever large a premises may be cannot be given by will, because the tenant is not the owner of that premises, as we know. The owner of the premises is landlord and not the tenant. Therefore, the transmission of tenancy are governed by the Rent Control Act, as we know it. But you can't mention it in the will. Quite often people ask, okay, when I say what is your property, and even huge tenanted premises they consider to be properties when the clients come. Okay, my property is this, so big, but then what is it, tenancy? So sorry, you can't write that in the will. Then the will must be made, says Hindu Succession Act, according to the Indian Succession Act 1925. But the details are given of what is a valid will, how to execute, various types of will, the legal requirement, and the formality that follow thereafter, the rights and liabilities of the executors, how to obtain probate, where to file, etc., etc. All that is given by the Indian Succession Act. Then the Indian Succession Act also says that a probate is required in case of a will made by Hindu. Now, what is probate? I'll explain to you. What is probate? Probate is an application or a petition to the court. Which court? The court having testamentary jurisdiction, or the court which has power to entertain and decide the probate and will cases. That is known as testamentary. In Mumbai, we have the Bombay High Court in its original site, in its testamentary and intestate jurisdiction. But outside Mumbai, in districts, one has to check which court has this power to deal with the cases relating to wills and probate. Now, procedure is, once you file an application or petition in the court, then the original will has to be submitted to the court. The registrar or the protonotary, as we have in Mumbai, will make the entry in the register of wills and put that original will in a safe custody and give copy to the petitioner. Thereafter, the court issues under the Indian Succession Act what is known as citation. Bear in mind, it's not the citation also means the authorities that we cite. Here, it is the Indian Succession Act. Therefore, I'll advise the students, talk within the framework of the law, not your general knowledge. So citation is like a notice. That notice is to be served on each and every legal heir, irrespective of whether that person is getting anything under the will or not. If he or she is a legal heir, as per the Hindu Succession Act, then that person must be given that citation notice, must be served. Now, what does this citation mention? It says that such and such application or petition has been filed by so and so person regarding probate of the will of so and so person dated so and so. It is kept in the court. If you are interested, then please come and take inspection of the will and the petition, and we will give you copies. And if you have any objection to the will, if you are challenging the will, then you must file a caveat within 14 days. Here, this caveat is under the Indian Succession Act, not that CPC wala caveat, where we generally file, okay, let no action be taken without notice to us. That is under Civil Procedure Code. Whereas this caveat is under the Indian Succession Act. Now, what is caveat? Caveat is and the Indian Succession Act is the challenge in the will. Once this caveat is filed, supported by an affidavit within 14 days, then the petition is converted into a suit. The issues are framed as per Civil Procedure Code. Thereafter, the evidence is recorded. Witnesses are examined and cross-examined. But suppose on service of citation, if the heirs do not raise any objection, 14 days are over, then if no such caveat or objection is received by the court, then the registrar or protonotary of the court will issue the probate on the basis of the affidavit of one of the two attesting witnesses. That's all. There won't be any court procedure or a court hearing in that case. Challenging the will. On receipt of notice or citation issued by the court to all legal heirs, as I told you, that person has an option of challenging the will, challenging the validity of the will, as lawyers, as we may call it. And affidavit is in support is filed with them. So the petition is converted automatically into a suit. That caveat and the affidavit in support become the written statement. And thereafter, as I told you, the issues will be framed and evidence will be recorded and given by either side. Again, coming back to how to prove the will. It is nothing and nothing but the evidence of the one of the two attesting witnesses, that he or she knew the maker of the will. That maker phoned him or her and called to witness the signing of the will by the maker. The other witness was also present. First, the maker signed it. Thereafter, I signed. And thereafter, the second witness signed. And then he is asked in the court, what was the physical and mental condition of the person who made it? And you say it was quite good enough. As I told you, person may be ill, bedridden. You may say, so, okay, yeah, person was bedridden. But when we went, he welcomed us and said, thanks for coming. I'm going to sign a will. Please sign as a witness. As I told you, the witnesses did not know the contents. They are not concerned with the contents. The maker may write anything that he or she likes, and in any language he or she likes. There is no restriction, no legal format, nothing. And once that is done, then the witness is cross-examined and things like that. And thereafter, the court comes to conclusion that the witness has proved the valid execution of the will, means valid signing of the will, and nothing else. Because by the will, person may give the entire high court to someone else. That does not matter. The will is validly executed. It won't be effective in the sense that when that person goes to claim the high court that this my father has given me by the will, then you know what situation occurs. So it is the execution of the will that alone determines, based on the evidence of the witness, that the will is valid or otherwise. Therefore, again coming back, no registration, no medical certificate is required as per the law and as per the procedure of our courts. Now, next topic is succession as per Hindu law. What is succession? Succession means transfer of property by inheritance from the deceased to the heirs or the family members. Bear in mind the spelling of the word deceased here, as we use in the courts. That is DECEASED, means expired. The other disease that we know, like say corona, that is spelled as DISEASE, which means ailment. This is the difference. Now there are two types of succession. One is as per the testamentary law. The succession by testament. Testament means will. If there is a will, then the provisions of the law, as I just now discussed, will be governed. The will is proved, probate is issued, and that becomes effective. And the person who is named in the will can claim that property, enter his name or her name in the city survey, etc. And the property will be transferred to him or her. The other type is non-testamentary. Non-testamentary means when no will is made by the deceased. If no will is made, then the Hindu law of succession, namely Hindu Succession Act 1956, applies. It gives the list of heirs, in the sense it names who are the legal heirs: spouse, son, daughter, grandchildren, grandson, granddaughter, etc., etc., father, mother, brother, sister. And there are two different provisions. If a female Hindu dies, leaving properties without making a will, then there is a different provision. Her successors are different, and they are mentioned in that provision of the Indian Hindu succession. If the deceased was a male, then a different provision altogether applies for succession to his property. The property of a deceased is called estate. Estate means property of a person who has expired. So you have to check that separate provision regarding succession in case of a male Hindu. Again, a list is given by naming the relations: spouse, son, daughter, etc. So you have to check, and accordingly the right or share is claimed by the person concerned. There is a third concept called the ancestral property in Hindu. What is ancestral property? We know the word ancestor. The property which is sort of inherited by a person from the fourth generation previous to him or her is known as the ancestral property, provided that property still continues to be in the name of the grandfather or great grandfather. If it is already given or distributed during the lifetime of that person, or even later by partition, then no right can be claimed. But if it does, in fact, it so happened in one of my matters, there were two big flats in Vilepal. They were in the name of the grandfather. Thereafter, the grandfather expired. The son did not make any application to add his name. Now that son had children, sons, daughters, means who are the grandchildren of the owner of the building. So all these people, the grandchildren, are claiming their share in that flat. Why? Because it continued to be in the name of their grandfather. And what is the, how much each one can claim and each one can get is a matter of Hindu Succession Act 1956, as I told you. Since here it was a male Hindu dying without a will, then you have to check that provision. Who are the successors of a male Hindu dying intestate without a will? The Hindu Succession Act, amended in 2005, gives female equal share with the males. There is no more distinction. In fact, a common concept is that, oh, once a daughter is married, then she loses her right. Women do not get any right. No, that's not so. The women after 2005 get equal share. The females get equal share in the property of the grandfather or grandmother. Grandfather means both parents are included. They also get equal share. How much share is a matter of calculation based on who are the other heirs, who are the other legal heirs of the grandfather. Accordingly, you determine will and not. The common impression prevails among many people. I have had many such clients saying that, well, my father or mother has made nomination in my name. So that's the end of it. I get the property. But the law does not say so. The wills, as we have seen just now, are governed by the Indian Succession Act 1925. And the transfer of property or claiming the right in the property as owner takes place from the maker to the person named in the will from the date of the death. After the will is proved in the court and valid, that it is valid and probate issued by the court, either way by challenge or without challenge. Whereas nomination is only a facility given under the Cooperative Societies Act rules and bylaws to the members, that a member may nominate a person in whose name he or she wants to transfer the flat and the shares in a cooperative society after his or her death. But that nominee holds as a trustee for all other legal heirs. He does not become the owner. So if he or she wants, the nominee wants to have the flat transferred to his or her name as owner, then the NOC, the no objection of all other heirs, is required. Without that, it can't be done. Then suppose the nominee is holding it and he or she wants to sell the flat, then the buyer will not buy it until the NOC from all other legal heirs. Therefore, nomination does not make the nominee as the owner, but only a trustee on behalf of all other legal heirs. But the will prevails. If there is a will, then no NOC is required of anyone, as we saw just now, once a probate is issued as per the formality of the court. Why should you make your will? Life is uncertain. The death is inevitable law of nature. One who is born dies. But the date, time, place, circumstances are not known. Therefore, if a will is made by the person, then after his or her death, the family will not fight over his or her properties, but will be able to live happily ever after. Because we have seen many film stars, producers, directors, singers not making the will of their huge properties, and the family, the relatives going to the court, and the property gets stuck in the court. No one gets anything. Therefore, it is really advisable that if you want your family to live happily after your death, please make a will. Do consult a lawyer, as I told you. Like I am going to tell you the format of the will underneath. But it's a highly specialized subject. Therefore, with due respect to all my lawyer friends, please go to a lawyer who has experience in the wills and probates in the court and take his or her guidance. If you are not so experienced and if you are asked to draft a will, then please consult, take his opinion, settle the draft will by that expert, by the experienced person. Shall we go to the next slide, please? Yeah, that's done. Now, how to sign and witness a will in lockdown condition? What you can do is that if you are making a will, then fix a video conference with 2 witnesses. Fix date and time. Place does not matter. Then start the video conference. Show them that document, the paper, sign it. Then send a photocopy of it to both the witnesses. by mail. They will confirm, having seen you signing that particular document which is attached as a will, and reply. All the three will reply to all the three of them. Later, when the courts open, then witnesses can go to the court, it is one of them, and make an affidavit. But if the witnesses are living in the same locality as you, so as we all know now, local movement of the people is permitted. Therefore, you can call the witnesses to your house, sign it physically. They will also sign it physically. And that will complete the legal formality of making a, yeah.
The question number 1, if one legal heir has a will and the other legal heir does not know about this will, does the one legal heir allowed to get the probate? What are the rights of the other heir who's unaware of such will being made?
Yeah. As I told you, the will has to be probated in the court in case of Hindus. Now, who are the people who are entitled to file such a petition or application in the court? A list is given. It may be one of the beneficiaries to the will, or maybe creditor. That person has to go to the court and say that this one heir who is getting benefit under the will has to go to court and submit the will to the court. Court will issue citation to each and every legal heir, irrespective of whether that person is getting anything or not getting. Even if that person is not getting, the only thing which will prove the validity is the attestation by two witnesses. I give the example of the Priyamvada Birla madam, that she gave her entire property worth more than 5,000 crores to her chartered accountant and his wife, not giving anything to the relatives and the family. But that will has been held to be valid because the court is only concerned with the valid execution of the will. Therefore, the other heir, if he is getting objection, well and good. If after receiving the citation notice from the court, that person is still not happy. Generally, I have seen that whosoever does not get will challenge the will. So let it go to court, let it be stuck. And that can be done by that heir. But it is not going to help that heir just because you are not getting anything. We have a famous case of two top-notch lawyers, as we know. I am not going to name them, where the will was made by the mother, giving her, I think, 15% share in the firm, which ran into 365 crores to one son, not to the other. Just because that was done, the other son went to the court and said, of course, the matter is now settled. There are lawyers only. But it always happens that the person who is not getting feels hurt, that something is wrong, this will is bogus, will has been so-and-so has forced my or put out my mom or dad to sign the will and things like that. But nothing will work, as I told you. Yeah, the next question.
Yes, sir. The next question, what is the limitation period of submitting the will? Till how many days after the death of the heir allowed to submit the will for probate?
There is no limitation as such, but only if you do it after a very long time, you have to give reason to the court why so much delay after the death of the person. And that it is accepted. It's not covered by the Limitation Act, that once this is done, then the will or probate petition is time barred. It never gets time barred. Yeah.
So next question, if a Hindu daughter marries a Muslim man, converts herself to Islam, can she still claim a right in her Hindu father's property when her father has passed away without making a will?
No, because here the law concerned is the Special Marriage Act. And the Special Marriage Act says that once a person is converted into another religion, then he or she loses all her rights in the original family to which he or she belongs. So in my opinion, she cannot claim any right. After conversion, the person is not converted, it's a different, it does not matter.
So next question, what are the consequences of the registered, if the registered will is executed or used without obtaining probate?
See, will without probate, no authority is going to accept the will. For example, main thing is the property, flat in a cooperative society or a property or a plot. Moment you go to register, they will insist on bringing the probate. Without probate, they do not transfer the name, do not enter the name of the person concerned. Same thing with the other authorities also, say like bank, etc. They will say, okay, oh, there's a will, then please bring the probate. Because without that, they will not act. Therefore, probate is a must for transferring the property. It's called transmission actually in law, but it's called transferring the property from the deceased to your name.
So next question.
Yes.
Female co-partner entitled to right in share under Succession Amendment Act. Does this amendment have retrospective operation? Secondly, what is the effect of Supreme Court judgment which held that female co-partners are entitled to the share provided father should be alive before 2005?
That is true. That is true. It is not retrospective, but from the date of the amendment. And the requirements mentioned in that judgment are to be followed.
So next question. If the property is in Mumbai and the will is made outside Mumbai, then does that need to be probated? As the concept is only in Mumbai, what happens in a vice versa situation?
Well, the concept of probate is under the Indian Succession Act and Hindu Succession Act, which requires the probate of a Hindu will to be compulsory. It does not matter where the will is executed, but the petition or application for probate has to be filed where any part of the deceased property is located. In fact, I have had cases where the properties were in Mumbai as well as Hong Kong, Singapore, London, and elsewhere also. So, if part of the property is here, then the petition has to be filed in, say, Mumbai. The Mumbai court will issue part probate, only dealing with the property which is here. So far as the other properties are concerned, you will have to go to that country, respective country, and make an application for the probate as per their procedure. And let me tell you, the wills and probates are part of the private international law. Therefore, the probate issued by our court, the wills made here in India are accepted in all courts everywhere, but only follow their formality. I mean, comply with their requirements, and that court will issue further part probate. Suppose part property is in Singapore, then that court will issue probate so far as that Singapore property is concerned. Likewise, London property, likewise, Switzerland property. So that's how it is done.
So next question. Can the property be transferred on the basis of a nomination, be taken back or cancelled on the basis of the will?
Yes.
What happens if when the property has been transferred by the society to the nominee?
Yeah. See, that depends on what state the will is shown to the society, because merely on the basis of the nomination, society will not transfer and should not transfer the flat in the name of the nominee. The legal requirement is that NOC from all other heirs, legal heirs, is necessary, because the concept is that the nominee holds the property or flat or a share as the trustee for all other legal heirs. Nomination is not a will. It's not a document of transfer of property, whereas will is a document whereby the property is transferred legally to the person named in the will. Not so in case of nomination, which is governed by the Cooperative Housing Societies Act and the law, not the Transfer of Properties Act or the Indian Succession Act. So that will be challenged and cancelled if it is done on the basis of nomination. The person who is getting under the will can bring the probate and challenge. The society will have to reverse the entry.
So next question. What is the difference between succession certificate and heirship certificate?
Well, basically they are all same, but our court has different nomenclature for different type of application. For example, if there is a will and an executor is appointed, then it is a petition for probate. Suppose there is a will and no executor is appointed, then it is filed in Mumbai, in Bombay High Court, as the petition for letters of administration with will annexed. Suppose there is no will at all, then one has to file an administration suit. Now, if the property only consists of shares and investment, nothing else, not even cash, then what you file is the petition for succession certificate. All other formalities are same, and then the court will issue succession certificate, because there the properties are only the shares and investment, bank balance, etc. Nothing else. No immovable property, no flat, not even cash, no jewelry. All these are there. Then you file a simple petition for letters of administration without will. One is with will, one is without will. So one has the, if executors are appointed, I tell you what is the role of an executor before I deal with that. So it is advisable, as we go through the format of the will, to appoint the executor, one or two persons known to you and trusted people who are clever, to manage and administer the property after your death. Because if one of the beneficiaries or the family member is made, then there will be quarrel. They will all think, oh, because you are executor, you got all the powers, you have misappropriated money, property, etc. Therefore, appoint a third party altogether. This executor derive their power under the Indian Succession Act. They can open an executor's account in the bank. They can write to the society. They can write to all the authorities concerned that we are the executors. And once they show their will, then their name will be entered as executors of the will. Bear in mind, property will not be transferred. Bank account balance will not be transferred. Not only that, they are entitled to use part of the money from the bank account for all the expenses required to follow up the will. Of course, it's subject to permission of the court. You can make an application to the court that this is the, we are the executors, this is the bank account, I need this much money, say to pay the probate court fee or to pay something else, official payments. All this court will allow you on the basis of the executor's account which the bank has opened. In fact, all banks do that. So from the executor account, the executor will be able to draw that much money and spend. Otherwise, question will arise, Chalo, I've been made an executor, but from where will I bring all the money? Engage a lawyer, pay the probate court fee, etc. So the other expenses, things like that, procedure. Therefore, no problem. Court will permit withdrawal from the executor account. After everything is over, then that account will be, the balance in that account will be transferred to the person named in the will. That's how it is.
So next question.
Yeah,
If a person renounces the world, that is, becomes a sadhu,
yeah.
then can he be treated as dead person to execute his will?
Maybe the person is uh, renounces his world does not matter, because we have seen so many Swamijis and Babas making their will. That is not the criteria for not making will. See, it's a different concept that if a person is unknown for 7 years, then it's presumed to be dead. But mere renouncing the world, on the contrary, all the more reason for that person to make the will. So now that I am renouncing, let my property go to the charity. Let it go to the ashram. Let it go to the religious activity. Or let it go to my, let the properties go to my religious organization, social or like that. He or she can definitely make.
Okay, sir. The next question. If there is a handwritten note but not signed by the writer of the will or any witness, can such note be treated as a will?
No, cannot be. So the condition, as I told you, that it must be signed by the maker. And if he or she is unable to sign due to paralysis, then a thumb impression can be kept. We know who has to put right hand thumb, left hand thumb, in the presence of the witness. And the witness will prove in the court that yes, this was the thumb impression of so and so, because I signed simultaneously. As soon as he or she put the thumb impression, I have signed as a witness. So also the other witnesses signed. But without signing and without witness, it's an invalid will. Even if it is signed and only one witness signs, it is invalid. Because the provision of law, Indian Succession Act, clearly says attestation. It means signing by two witnesses. That is compulsory.
The next question. If a grandfather makes a will and doesn't mention the name of his grandson in the will, can grandson claim under the Hindu Succession Act on reaching 18 years?
No, cannot. Because the will, by will, a person may give to an outsider altogether. There's no restriction. So long as the maker of the will own that property, it is fully his discretion, absolute authority and desire to whom he should give, whom he should not give. There is no question of succession thereafter. If there is a will, that is known as the testamentary succession. So that is governed by the will. No one gets any right. As I told you again and again, I am telling you, chartered accountant and his wife given 5,000 crores. And yet that will has been held to be validly executed. Bear in mind, this is the criteria. Not okay, why is nothing given to the relatives? Because as I told you, so far as the lawyers are concerned, we always mention the reasons why the family or relatives or one of them is not being given. The reason may be positive also, that so and so, my daughter is so rich, so well off, or so and so, so well off, my son is, that I'm only giving him a token amount. But the other son or a daughter is in a bad condition and he or she needs this property. Therefore, I'm giving this property to him or her, like that. The reasons have been mentioned in that Birla Madam will also, but I'm not going to discuss because it's not good.
Yes, sir.
But one can read that judgment and see. Yeah.
Yes, sir. The next one. Can you give an example or case law where a will was challenged and then what was the outcome? I guess you can use the same example you've been citing throughout, sir.
Yeah. Yes. Birla will, 2015 Supreme Court judgment. See, that was a extreme case, very interesting. It shocked the whole of India. When the news came, I remember that many years back, 2015 year. Everybody was shocked that how can such a thing happen. And thereafter, research was made by the lawyers and seminars were held. Like I have addressed quite a few such seminars held by various organizations like say Chartered Accountant, like the management, the share people. Is it possible? Can it be done? Yes or no? And the answer was yes, as I told you. Yeah.
The next question, is
Yes.
probate mandatory?
Yeah, in case of Hinduism, as I told you, the Indian Succession Act, see, there is an interplay between Hindu Succession Act, which gives right to a Hindu to make a will. And that will has to be made according to the Indian Succession Act. Indian Succession Act again says that will of a probate is mandatory in case of a Hindu, in case of a Hindu. Therefore, the probate has to be obtained. But in even otherwise, I can tell you from the practice we have in real estate, moment you go for entering your name in the city survey or any other authority, they will say, okay, show the probate, show the court's order. Next question, please.
Yes. What if both the witnesses die before the will is proved or probated?
Yes. Good question. I was expecting this. The provision of law, and in fact, our Bombay High Court rule also mentioned that there are several judgments that if both the witnesses have died or are not available, suppose they are too old to come to the court, travel, or to speak and give evidence, then the law says that any person who was familiar with the handwriting of the deceased can give evidence that yes, this is my father's signature, my mother's signature, my grandfather. Then, because it's very difficult but not impossible, then that person shows the other evidence of how can that person say that this is his signature. Then he has to show other documents which are signed by that person. Then he can say that, see, this is given to me by my father, my mother, grandmother, grandfather. And court will compare the signatures. If it is challenged and the handwriting expert is sent the paper, then he or she gives the report that yes, these are the signatures of this person. But if you do not have, the witness does not have any proof to show, then things are really difficult to prove. Because how suppose I go as a witness, how can I say that this is my father's signature? Court needs evidence. Evidence means proof. Bear in mind. Court needs a document. Show a document signed by your father, which you are having. Or even a copy will do, need not be original. That signature is compared with the help of the handwriting expert. So there is a provision that even if none of the attesting witnesses are available, still evidence can be given by the person who was familiar with the signature. Like lawyers are called for many times. A lawyer is the best person, but the person must have signed the document coming to the lawyer's office, or his chartered accountant. Person must have signed some documents in the office of his or her chartered accountant. So they have the documents. They will definitely come forward. The professionals, lawyers, doctors, not doctors, lawyers and the chartered accountants will come to the court and show the evidence that this is the signature of that person. That's all, nothing else. As I told you, no one is concerned with the content of the court. That's for the court to deal with separately. Yeah, next question.
This is the query is, if a will is probated and subsequently a will is discovered.
Second will is discovered.
Probated, then subsequently a later will is discovered,
yeah.
which obviously has not been probated.
Yeah.
What would the situation be?
Yeah. Then an application can be made to stay the operation of the first probate, and the person who has got the second will, if he or she is entitled to file a petition or application, can file an application for the probate. And that once that second will is proved, then the first will get cancelled. In the meantime, everything can be stayed. An application can be made to the testamentary court or the probate court for that purpose. Because the will which is second always prevails, as I told you. Unless, of course, both deal with different sets of properties altogether. If first will is regarding other properties and the second will is regarding totally different properties altogether, then there is no conflict, no clash. And the first will probated, let that person claim that that property as per the will and probate. First, the other person can claim, because there are cases where two wills have been, so many cases, two wills are brought to the court. And a very thrilling, I tell you, the most thrilling cases are the cases regarding the will.
Interesting questions.
Yeah.
Are there any restrictions on attesting witness? Who can be an attesting witness? And are there any restriction on who can be an executor?
Executor, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So for any restrictions on witness, that is, can the witness to the will be a relative, a son, daughter, etc.?
Yeah.
And can that witness also be a beneficiary?
Yeah. Again, if you check the provision of the law, the witness can be any person known to the maker of the will. Maybe one of the family, maybe an outsider. That does not matter. There is no restriction. Must be an adult, 18 years and above. So he or she can be a witness. Secondly, gift made to the witness by the will per se does not make the gift invalid as per the law. Again, check the Indian Succession Act. That does not make it invalid. Because it's quite many times it happens that one of the sons or daughters is appointed as the executor, and he or she is also given some benefit, or a wife is appointed and he or she is given some benefit. Nothing wrong, because proving the will in the court is an independent thing altogether. Nothing to do with the contents of the will, whether that attesting witness is given, not given, unless there is an extreme case like we have. I just broadly say that because it's a pending matter, so I can, there, what has happened. Court is yet to decide. I can't say who is right and who is wrong. That a will was made by a person regarding two huge properties in Mumbai, appointing his one son, one of the three sons, as an executor. He and his wife were appointed as executor of that will. Secondly, that entire property was given to the first son and that daughter-in-law, and nothing was given to the other people. So this obviously means, and that son was living with the person when that person died for many years. All others had separated and gone away, but this person and his wife were staying with them. So this is a very interesting matter. As I told you, that you never know what is going to happen in the court. But this matter is still pending in the court. It's a sub judice, so I am not going to give any opinion. But it does happen.
Another highly voted question, sir. If a will is not signed by any of the witnesses, will it still be a valid will?
No, it will not be valid.
Uh,
Attestation means signing by two witnesses. Kindly see the definition of attestation in the law.
Now, the next one is, I wanted to know if someone, if a person has bought any, I wanted to know, can someone will the property which is bought out of the proceedings of inherited property? Example, if A receives some amount from the sale of inheritance, and then that money is used to buy a shop. He has two sons. Can the shop be given only to one son of his choice, as the shop was bought from monies which he inherited?
No, that cannot be done. If he has received the money under the will, then yes, then that becomes his separate property. But if it is inherited, say for example, a grandfather's property is sold by the father and he gets money, then that money will be shared by all the three generations I told you. Because property does not only mean the immovable property like flat, plot, bungalow, but property includes everything, including the money, the sale proceeds also. Because in that case, the person, say the father, for example, will hold on behalf of all others as a trustee, as per the law. And the other son who is not given can definitely claim that it's not your property, father, it's grandfather.
So if A has willed property, if A is the deceased person, has willed some property to his two sons, B and C, and B predeceases the father, then what happens?
Yeah, then in my opinion, the person will not get, because a person is specifically named in the will. If a person or a beneficiary dies after the maker of the will, then obviously his share will go to his heirs. But if the person has already expired before the maker of the will dies, then in my opinion, nothing will be given to that person. And there's a concept of what is known as the joint ownership and joint bequest and all that. But the person has to be named in the will. Unless it is said that to so and so, and if he has died to his heirs. If you read the examples under the Indian Succession Act, they are very interesting and some are very funny also. Where the bequest is made, bequest made up to 3 generations is held to be valid as a rule again. Rule of perpetuity. You can make it up to 3, including the unborn child. All that is permitted, but please check the law on that. It's very complicated thing, known as the law of perpetuity. To 3 generations, a person can be mentioned in the will to get the benefit, but not otherwise. The will only does not say that the son predeceased, then so and so will get, his heirs will get. If that is not done, then in my opinion, that deceased son's family or heirs will not get anything.
So can a will be video recorded instead of writing?
No, writing is a must, because how will you sign otherwise? Oral will was permitted many years back. If you see the Indian Succession Act, the provision for oral will also. Say like a seaman who is about to die in the high seas, or a soldier, and in good old days they used to make oral will in presence of 2 witnesses, and those were held to be valid, but no more. Now such situation does not happen at all. Therefore, mere video recording will not happen. It has to be in writing, maybe handwritten, as I told you. Write on a rough pad, write in a notebook, but it must be written, signed and attested by 2 witnesses. Okay. I've had case where the will has been written on the pages of the notebook. That notebook was properly cut and stapled, and we filed it in the court as a will, and that is accepted because there is no legal requirement that there should be a stamp paper document, or it should be in say legal size, this, nothing at all. For centuries, it's not a new development. From the beginning, see the will, the concept of will is that if when the person is about to die, he or she wants to make the distribution of the property among the family so that they don't quarrel. From the beginning, right from the beginning, in no country as far as I know, there is a formality regarding stamp paper or registration or notary. Maybe there in a few countries, but by and large, no. And full sort of, it's a facility given to a dying person. That is the concept of a will. Person on a deathbed, they used to, in the old Hindi film, they used to say orally, ye karna, wo karna, sab mil baat ke rehna, but that is not possible these days. Therefore, it was not possible even earlier also. For the requirement is that, okay, if you can't write the will, tell someone else to write, that is permitted. Law doesn't say that you must write your own will or you must print your own will on a computer. No, tell someone else to write. Then all you have to do is sign it or put your thumb impression if you are unable to sign or if you do not know how to sign. Suppose you are too illiterate, and put your thumb impression.
So next question is again where two different wills are found on the death of the maker and there is no date mentioned on any of the wills. Which would you consider as a final will?
Then it's purely a matter of evidence.
Yes.
It will be a very sort of difficult thing for the court also. Both parties claiming, bringing that will have to prove that which one is earlier, which one is later. See, both deal with different properties, then there is no conflict at all. But if they deal with the same property, then it's a matter of very, very strong and difficult evidence for either party to prove the date. How, if it is not dated by the deceased or the witness, no one else is allowed to do that. Then it's a matter of guesses and surmises and all sorts of imagination what must have happened.
Yes, sir. Again, a question relating to tenancy property, tenanted property, and it says how tenanted property can be transferred if the person has no own children or adopted children. Does it amount to where any person living with the person becomes a tenant on his demise?
See, this question pertains to the Rent Control Act. Kindly read that. It doesn't deal with the wills or succession under the
Yes, sir.
Succession Act, Indian Succession Act. It's a matter of Rent Act.
Yes, sir.
We call it. Yeah.
Now, again, a question relating to oral partition. Is the oral partition done 30 years earlier by one brother after another brother has died valid for a deceased?
No, please ask the question again and please explain the question first.
If there are two brothers and there is a oral partition done between them relating to a property, subsequently one brother dies. So in that circumstance, what happens to the property?
Well, oral partition is held to be valid if it was made in presence of the witnesses. In fact, I've had a similar case, which we succeeded also. It was filed in the Mumbai City Civil Court, where the property was partitioned between two sons, very equitable distribution. One property to one son and his family, other in the presence of the village patil. Happened in Mumbai only, therefore Mumbai City Civil Court. And two of the Atyas, in Marathi, I think it is Fufi as we call, the father's sister. It was done in presence of three of them. When the matter came up for hearing in the City Civil Court and evidence started, one of the two Atyas, means the Fufi or the, was still alive and was able to answer the questions. Too old. That village patil was not available. There was another that Atya also, that Marathi is known, she is known as Atya. But the other one was available. She came to the court. You'll be surprised that everybody was fascinated, including the judge. So the judge told me, my witness, of course, she was, that let me first ask the general questions to this witness because too old, an illiterate lady. They lived in what is known as the Gautam, the fisherman community, the Koli community, and typically elderly woman dressed like that also. And the judge asked her general questions, and the judge was impressed that yes, she does understand everything. And then she was asked by me the questions, and of course she was cross-examined also, because she knew the person who made the will was her own father. I mean, the oral partition was her own father. And it was an equitable distribution between the two sons, two brothers of hers. And two sets of properties are given, and that is held to be valid. There is a provision in the Indian Succession Act also, that if no such, I do not remember, but there is a provision. Suppose no witness or no document is found or traceable, still one can give evidence. The court is convinced after cross-examination, after question, the court has granted me the decree based on the oral partition proved by one of the elderly ladies by coming to the court.
So there is this one question which everybody has been asking is, if a person makes a will in favor of his pet,
Yeah.
dog or cat,
Mhm.
and if that dog or cat, what happens after the dog or the cat dies?
Well, that is that pet considered to be a person in law or not? In my opinion, a pet is not considered to be a person in law. For a will can be only made to the person, not to the pet.
Okay.
Charity can be done. Charity can be made in favor of that person. Or one of the, on the will you may direct that, okay, so much money I'm allocating for the maintenance, welfare and upkeep of so-and-so pet. But that direction has to be given to some human being, maybe executor or maybe one of the family members.
So that was the last question for the day.
Yeah.
On behalf of Flea, thank you very much for a truly interesting session and so patiently explaining the concepts and answering all the queries. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.